Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? You're welcome to come off mute, come off camera if you'd like. This will be a very informal session. My name is Susan Ortiz. I am the program director here at HAND, and you are all joining us, I hope, for our quarterly member power hour. So HAND hosts these power hours each quarter, whether it's for our newer members who would like to get a better understanding of the member benefits we have, or if you've been a HAND member for a little bit now and you just want a refresher on all the things that your team has access to. So we thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to walk through just a big overview of all of our member benefits. It will be a lot of information, so feel free to ask questions. We'll send you a follow-up with important links and a summary of everything we go over today, but just want to make sure you guys have an understanding of all the benefits your team has access to and that you know how to access them. So Courtney will be on in a few minutes and she'll be here to help us answer questions at the end if you guys come up with anything. And again, if it's something you don't want to ask on here, feel free to email us. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. Can you go back to the convening slide, Tiana, please? There we go. All right, awesome, everybody. I know we're all at different stages of our membership, so just a little bit of background on HAND before we get started for those of you who are newer. HAND is a nonprofit membership collective that we are all grateful you all are a part of now. We're a little bit older than 30 years old, founded as a membership association for nonprofit developers. But as you all know, these goals we all have are impossible without partnerships, and there's many different people who play a role in this. So over the years, HAND has expanded its reach to include members in all facets of the affordable housing and community development spaces. So we have legal members, resident services, asset management, lawyers, architects, everyone who has a hand in this work. It's crucial that we are all working together in unison and collaborating on all the different things that make this work possible. So we're grateful for all of you for being here today and for being part of HAND and hoping to see you at all of these events and things we're going to talk about today. So HAND's three main pillars, as you see on the screen here, are to convene, educate, and activate. So we convene our members by bringing them together to build partnerships that are essential to doing this work. Like I said, we all have a shared mission, and I'm sure we can all agree that none of us are able to do this work alone. So the networking and partnerships at HAND are essential in making this work possible. The second one, educate, is captured in our training and programming, which I'll go over in a lot more detail in a couple of minutes. But HAND hosts more than 40 events each year, a combination now of virtual and in person. But like I said, we have a lot of information in that I'll get into the scope of those a little bit later. Last but not least, we have here to activate. So this speaks to the advocacy and policy work that HAND does. We know the challenges that face our industry are not going away. With a simple fix, affordable housing is not going to have one quick fix overnight solution. So through these activations, largely surrounding our housing indicator tool, or the HIT, if you all are familiar with that, we aim to amplify our collective voice in ways that advance equity and justice throughout our communities to build a more equitable region. All right, you can go to the next one, Tiana, please. And also, again, guys, this is going to be a lot of information that I'm going to run through broadly. Feel free to come off mute, interrupt me, ask questions. You can drop them in the chat. Me and Tiana will monitor that throughout today's conversation, and then at the end, we'll have time as well. But if there's nothing off the bat, I'll go ahead and jump into this. Like I said, there's a lot of information on here, so we'll send you a follow-up with important links and a summary of this as well. But first, I just want to mention that as a HAND member, your entire organization gets access to these benefits. So if your team is not enrolled, we can also send you, we have a spreadsheet that collects your team's information, and we'll get them set up with logins for our member portal. That way they can register for events and take advantage of all the benefits as well, to make sure that they're coming to networking events, getting trainings, all of those good things. So you can either flag it for us on this call or in an email after, just let us know and we'll make sure we get them set up. HAND did recently transition to Salesforce. So if you're having any issues logging in or getting set up for events, just let us know, and me and Tiana are happy to help you guys troubleshoot getting that set up. So without further ado, I will walk through the different benefits on the screen here. So first, we have our racial equity work. So HAND has a racial equity resource center. Everything we do is founded in racial equity and making sure that we're looking through that lens when we're talking about affordable housing and community development. So in our resource center, there's some educational materials that can be helpful for your teams. We also have a racial equity Fast Five newsletter that goes out once a month. And the purpose of that is to really provide you with a quick read. We say 5 minutes, try to keep it under 10 or 15. As close to that as we can get, but it summarizes different advocacy and policy initiatives happening in the space. new programs that are advancing racial equity work in our communities and the communities we serve. So we have that. And then another exciting thing that is coming up next year that we're working on building out right now is our racial equity leadership development cohort. So this is a working title, but HAND is currently in the process of creating our next series of racial equity programming. So in the past, if you've been a member for a little bit, we've done a few one-off trainings here and there about diversity, equity, and inclusion, how to bring that to your organization as well as the communities you serve. But the feedback we've got from members is that they're looking really for the next step. They're ready to go deeper, bring in an actual plan to their organizations. So we're working on building out this cohort that will be made up of organizations, C-suite, executive leaders, DEI officers, board members, whoever's going to have a say or be able to take action in your organization to make these changes and have that direct impact. So they'll go through a 9-10-month course that includes coaching at the individual levels, at the organizational level, and then a series of sessions as a group, and they'll help you build out an action plan. So by the end of this course, you can go back to your organization and actually put these changes into place. And then there's also those other people who are doing it with you that can kind of hold you accountable and will design ways that your organization will be actually able to measure your success in building a more equitable organization. So that is racial equity work in a nutshell. We're super excited about that cohort coming up. So as we build that out, we'll be reaching out to organizations to give you more information and hopefully launch that early next year. As I mentioned earlier, we host quite a few trainings each year. So these range from networking opportunities like our Holiday Mixer. I would love to shamelessly plug that our Holiday Mixer is 1 week from today, next Monday at Arena Stage, December 11th from 6 to 9. So we hope you all can join us, especially if you're a new member, get to put a face to a name in person. It's super helpful. You'll meet lots of people, but we hope to see you there. And if you didn't get the newsletter today, just reach out to us. We'll send you the link to register for that. Then we also have activations. As I mentioned earlier, one of our pillars is to activate, and these are focused around our housing indicator tool and activating our members to make impactful change at the policy level. Our more broad programming, though, is often driven by member feedback. So we host trainings on technical topics, for example, like the year 15 transition down to soft skills. So we'll be hosting a managing up training on how to manage up your career, how to manage your boss. It's good for our emerging leader group as well. Notice generation hand, which we'll talk about in a couple seconds, but these soft skill trainings, so presentation skills, how to have difficult conversations, negotiations, all those kind of things, all the way up to more technical topics, which I will not bore you with our entire calendar right now because it's a lot of events, but we can send you a link to our program calendar so you can see the different things that are coming up throughout the year. We also have affinity groups. So if you're not familiar with those, there are smaller peer-to-peer sessions where you can come meet with people who are in the same industry segment. So like I mentioned, HAND has grown to cover so many different roles within the affordable housing space. So it's nice to sometimes meet with the people who are doing the same daily task as you, working in the same sort of mindset. So right now we have ones for asset management, resident services, and environmental justice. So those typically meet on a quarterly basis. Sometimes they will be just an open forum where you all can come talk about what problems is your industry segment seeing, and then collaborate about solutions and what are people in Maryland doing, what are people in Virginia doing, all that good stuff. However, we also have more like niche topics where people will bring to us and be like, hey, I think it would be great for us to talk about this policy that's happening in the environmental space. Would love to know how to access funding to it. We have an event coming up on that next month. In January, we'll have the hub coming in to tell you about different funding opportunities for different environmental initiatives. So that's just an example of that. If you want to get involved in those, you're more than welcome to. Anybody can join them. You can just let us know if you have a topic you want to hear in them. We'll make sure you send me the link and everything like that. Also, like I said, we have those 3 right now. We are open to exploring the idea of other industry segments who want to have one, but we're also always looking for members we can lean on who are helping us put those together as they are an extra function on top of our other events. All right, let me let someone in real quick. Moving on to Generation HAND that I mentioned, this is our suite of programs and initiatives for emerging leaders. A lot of students are a part of this as well, just young professionals. This includes our mentorship program. We'll be kicking off the 3rd year of that this coming February. And the signups to become a mentor or mentee are actually going out at the end of this week. So in our newsletters, you'll see the option to sign up to be a mentor, sign up to be a mentee. If you've done this program in the past, we'll be asking you which capacity you'd like to continue in. If you want to take on another mentee, you're more than welcome to, all up to your capacity. Gen Hand also encompasses our Generation Hand Scholarship. We launched this last year. If you were able to attend our Hand Honors last year, we recognize our first two scholars, one who is at UVA and one who's at Morgan State now, finishing up their first semester, crazily enough already. But these scholarships go to students, graduating seniors who live in our member properties. So if you have students at your properties who excel in leadership, community work, are just great students all around and have this great characteristics, they can be nominated. We'll open up the next round in 2024, and then they'll be recognized again at Hand Honors in June. Next, again, a lot of information, so I'll pause there for a second. Do we have any questions on any of that so far? All right, I'll keep going. A little bit more on the housing indicator tool I mentioned earlier. That's our HIT, better known as, and this is created to track housing production throughout the capital region. So we work with our research partners at the Urban Institute to track local housing production and preservation, as well as the policies that make that work possible. One of my favorite things about the tool is that at the end, it has calls to action. So this has calls to action for public and private sector, nonprofits, developers, law firms, community members, faith-based organizations, anyone who thinks maybe like, I can't help with this problem. There's something in there to show you like we all have a role to play. So it's a very cool feature of the HIT. Taylor Phillips is our director of public policy. She joined the team in September. If you haven't had a chance to get to know her, really good time to connect with her is if your team wants a demo on the housing indicator tool, if you just want to see a walkthrough of how to use the tool, how to compare jurisdictions, how to look at those calls to action and promote them to the people you're working with. She can definitely set that up for you, so we can send you her contact information in our follow-up as well. Next, we have our communications. So I know I mentioned our Racial Equity Fast 5 newsletter earlier, but we have quite a slew of communications. Hand definitely believes in over communicating, so we get you information very often throughout the month. So we have our news and notes, which is a general overview of a lot of things going on in the industry. It's our events, our members' events, different news that's going on throughout the industry. Lots of good things there. Any deadlines for like programs or funding opportunities that might be helpful for you guys. All of that's in there. We have our training notices, which just are reminders to register for the programs that we're hosting. And then we also have our Beyond the Dashboards, which is our HIT newsletter, which ties the data from the HIT into different programs we're doing or different initiatives going on throughout the industry as well. So if you're not signed up for those, or if your team's not signed up for those, we can include that link as well for you to register for one or all of those, and just make sure you're not missing out on any of the important events that are going on. But like I said, just reach out to us if you guys are not receiving those, because there's definitely important reminders that go out quite often. All right, and just a few more before I wrap up, and we'll get into questions because this was a pretty broad overview. But one of our last things is our human resources benefits. So our nonprofit members, they have the advantage, Hand partners with the Center for Nonprofit Advancement, Vital Health, and Nonstop to support you in enhancing your benefit options. So they have some great plans available that allow your employees to receive most of their coverage at no cost. I'm not a benefits or HR expert, so I won't get into the exact details of that plan, but what we can do is facilitate setting up that call if you're thinking about exploring new benefits plans, if you're up for a new plan and would like to explore the other options. What we can do is set up a meeting with you and our partners there and talk through the different options that your team has available to them as a nonprofit member of Hand. Next, we do a biannual salary survey. This just helps our members make sure that they're paying their teams equitably. This originally was only open to our nonprofit members, but we're actually building out a new version right now that will also include our for-profit members. So we're happy to expand that and excited to make it available to more of you. And then last but not least, we have Hand's Career Center. So this is our free job board. You're welcome to post any openings you may have. Simply email them to Tiana. We'll include her contact information at the end of this as well. I can drop it in the chat. But she's great at managing that and making sure all of your stuff is posted and getting you good candidates who come through our website. But yeah, on that note, I'll stop there. That was a lot of information on this one slide, but any questions there? Thank you. Tiana just dropped her email in the chat. Any questions? Like I said, feel free to come off. And again, like I said, a lot of our content is member driven. So if you have ideas for that as well, I'm happy to hear those now too.
So I might have missed part of what you said. Hi, this is Maya from Jubilee Housing.
Hi.
And I heard something about announcing anniversaries. Jubilee Housing just celebrated its 50th anniversary.
Mhm.
And so what would be the proper way to follow up on doing an announcement like that?
Yeah, so we can include that. We have our news and notes blog. You could send that information. Tiana put her email in the chat. She's the best person to send that to. We can include a blurb about it in our news and notes blurb. As part of our communications, we also do have the option. We can set up a call if you ever wanted to do a guest blog. That's an option as well. We have guest blogs on our website that we promote in our newsletters as well. So if there's something editorial your team was writing, or if it was just something you wanted to share about a topic, a program that you guys are launching, or if it was like a release or something you're doing about your anniversary, we could set up a call to talk about doing a blog post about it as well.
Okay, but start out with emailing Triana first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tiana's email is in the chat, but we
Okay.
could definitely include it in news and notes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Who all here is new versus getting a refresher? I just joined in April, so I'm still meeting a lot of new faces, so I'm excited to have you all here. Yeah, I think there's a hand up. We got Tanika. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was identifying myself as someone new.
Awesome. Do you have any questions? I know I threw a lot of information out there.
No questions right now. I'm just, looking over the slide. But thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. Anyone initial interest and affinity? Sorry, one question. I'm new, being the primary contact for organization, org is not new to being a hand member. All right, Maya, good to know. Awesome. Yeah, so Maya, for example, one will make sure that you're listed as the primary contact, and we can also send you an updated spreadsheet. As I mentioned, we're currently switching to Salesforce, so we're just trying to make sure that everyone's teams are up to date. We have the right data for everybody. So we have a spreadsheet that we can send out to make sure all of your team's contacts are on there and they're getting all this information and they're able to register for events and all that good stuff. Any questions, concerns? Anything you'd like to see that maybe I didn't mention?
Hi, this is Ginger. I'm with Douglas Community Land Trust.
Hey, Ginger.
Not new to the organization. Good to see some of you on here too. I am interested in HR info, particularly as it relates to health insurance, and potentially some other of those areas. I don't know if you're covering that separately or if I should just call afterwards.
Yeah, no. So that was the program I was saying that we partner with the Center for Nonprofit Advancement, Vital Health and Nonstop on. So hand those as an organization. I would have to set up a call with your team and their teams, and we could walk through the different options and things like that. But if that's something you're interested in, I'm more than happy to facilitate that for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Is that something you guys are working on soon, just so I can give them an idea?
Yes, we renew early part of the year, Q1.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we are more than happy to do it. It's a great program. At least with the options that we're on, we get our coverage for virtually free, so it's very helpful for your teams.
I'm sorry, while I'm here, I'm also very interested to know, because we are in Salesforce as well, and I'm curious to know if it'd be great. I think a number of years ago, back at maybe at CNHED, Precious, I don't know if you remember this, but we were talking about doing a Salesforce affinity group for folks to be able to share, because there's a lot to know about utilizing Salesforce platform.
No, I love that idea actually, because I think Tiana, I can safely say for both of us, we are learning as we go.
Agreed.
How long have you guys been using it, Ginger?
Well, we're back in it for about a year now, but because it was a lot to handle for us. So, and then we just shifted back over. We have not yet connected to our web forms or our mass email client. And so all of those are things that we're going to be doing. It seems a shame to waste knowledge that other people gain.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. That's a good idea. I like that a lot because we are definitely ours is being built out in phases. So right now it's just the events is fully launched and we're working on like the communications aspect, the email portion being built into that, as well as like our back office stuff being put in there as well. But it's definitely a learning curve. So it would be helpful to share with people on that. Hey, Courtney, how are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. My apologies for being tardy, but great to see everyone and doing well. And happy to answer any questions or help Susan answer any questions that may have not already come up. And for those, I think I recognize a good number of the names here, but for those who aren't familiar, my name is Courtney Vowd. I'm acting executive director of HAND, and we started these power hours just to make sure that our current members and potential new members or newly joined members were familiar with all the membership benefits we have to offer, to answer any questions that might be lingering, and also another opportunity to network with other members in the space. So hopefully this has been a value add for everyone. And again, if there are additional questions, we're happy to assist on those.
Awesome. Yeah, Melissa, I see you said you'd be interested in learning about the affinity groups. So just a little bit more information there. As I mentioned, we have resident services right now, asset management, and environmental justice. They meet on a quarterly basis. Like I said, some of them are more niche topics and sometimes it's more open forum, people coming and sharing their ideas and collaborating. The last few we've done have been pretty topic specific. So we just did one on sustainably funding resident services programs. So it's one thing to have the funding in your deal to get them started, but how are you making sure you have the money to keep those services going throughout the life of the property? One of the ones we just did was on decarbonization in buildings. And then we also did one on the Inflation Reduction Act earlier this year. And then our upcoming ones, we have a resident service one on the core certification. So if your organization is interested in learning about how the core certification can impact your scoring on a deal, how it trains your resident services staff and the implications of that, that's a really good program that's safe. The Stewards of Affordable Housing, for the future, they are going to come teach that session for us on how to get certified in that program and the different steps you need to take. And then in the asset management one, we're going to be working on one about insurance soon. Just all the problems going on right now with being able to find people who insure affordable housing, and then also just the overall cost increases associated with that recently. So working on a session around that. And then I mentioned for environmental justice, the hub, they typically do like one-on-one consulting sessions with their clients that teach them like how to find incentive programs for environmental initiatives and put them in touch with people who are funding. So they're being really generous and teaching that to an open group rather than having to pay them for like consulting fees and things like that. So they're coming to teach a session on that for our affinity group, which we're super grateful for. The date for the CORES one, it's all of our affinity groups are virtual. They're similar to this. We do like a lunch hour, so people need to eat while they're doing it. Super casual. They're informal, like I said, peer-to-peer. We encourage people to come off camera, ask questions, collaborate. But the CORES one is scheduled for, let me double check, I believe it's January 31st. Yes, so the CORES one will be on January 31st. So those communications that I mentioned, the news and notes and training notes, we have one of each of those going out this week. So you'll see those, you should see those by the end of this week. So registration will be open for those and HAND members can go to all of those for free.
And I would just add also on the affinity groups, if there are ideas for additional affinity groups that we should be thinking about, please do let us know. We're in the midst of a strategic plan as we speak. And so just giving thought to all of the benefits that we offer, how we're really serving all of the different pieces of our membership, segments of our membership. So if there are ideas, things that we've thrown around before are, affinity groups for maybe the C-suite level of leadership at organizations, to provide a space for those peers to be able to connect, engaging the segment of our membership that deals with home ownership. So just to get those wheels turning, if there are any ideas on an affinity group that your organization or could benefit from, or that you think other members could benefit from, we welcome those as well.
Hey, Courtney and Susan, this is Melissa from Momentous. I just want to
Mhm.
say thank you for the information, even though I've been with Momentous now for 2 years. I didn't, I think, know how to leverage fully our membership because I was not aware of like the full scope of services available. And so this was really, really helpful. So thank you. And I know we have a meeting coming up, so I'm sure more questions will come up at that point.
Yeah,
But-
no, we appreciate you hopping on this afternoon, and that's exactly why we started these, to make sure that all of our members are aware of everything that they can tap into. And often we find that if it's one person that's kind of managing the organization's membership, then all the information doesn't get trickled down all the time. So, wanting to make sure we can have different touch points so that everyone is aware of how to best engage. So thank you for joining, Melissa. Good to see you.
Of course, thanks. Likewise.
I just dropped a link in the chat. Like I said, I'll send you that, guys, this in a follow-up, but everything I went over today, including the document that was up on the screen, and then helpful links to everything that was on there, is on this page of our website under membership benefits. So if you need help accessing the Racial Equity Resource Center, we would recommend bookmarking the program calendar so you don't miss anything there. All that stuff's in there. Links about if you want more information about the mentorship program, the scholarship, there's links to all that on that page. So it's a good page to have handy, or if you want to share that around with your team just so they know where the most important things are to get to. Any other questions, guys? We have plenty of time left, so let us know.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, and our pleasure, Ginger. Good to see you too. If there are no other questions, again, happy to make ourselves available offline. Do a separate meeting with your team. If there are program ideas, we're always up for those ideas as well. But really great to see everyone this afternoon. Hope that you'll join us for our holiday mixer on December 11th, which is a week from today. If you haven't already registered, you can access that link on our website. And it's a great networking opportunity, great way to connect with other peers in the space and celebrate the holiday season. It's our last kind of shindig before we go to be with our families and friends before the holiday and the end of the year. So if you're available next Monday, we would love to have you. And we'll also be in touch on upcoming programs in the new year. And if it's helpful, we can also just drop our emails in the chat, so everyone knows how to connect with us. I'm going to drop mine here. And yeah, so thank you for joining us. This is, these were meant to be super informal. So again, if any other questions come up, please do let us know, and we hope that you have a great week and look forward to seeing you soon.